Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another live review. Yes, this is the time where we talk about radio, but we do it live. And as you can see on the desk today, there's something new here, something different. Yes, there is. That's the Radtel RT-463. This is an interesting little radio. Of course, looks familiar to some of you. Well, then there may be a reason for that, and that's because this is basically a clone of the minus a couple of uh, key different, no, a couple of little differences. This is basically the same thing as the um, Max Talker TKW60 GMRS radio that's listed. Now, the Max Talker is listed as waterproof. This one here, I do not believe is anywhere near waterproof. Um, but that's an interesting thing to point out. One of the things is, of course, if you, and I know on the camera it may not show up, but when you look through here, you can clearly see the speaker and everything. There's no protective covering or anything here uh, at the speaker or anything, so that tells me it's probably not waterproof. So let's not play with this in the swimming pool or anything. Okay, good idea. Um, but it's a good little radio. Like I said, it's a basically the same thing as the Max Talker uh, GMRS radio. However, this is the Radtel version, the 463. It's a little bit different than what I'm used to on a radio. There's a few things that I like, a few things I'm not too impressed with, but overall, it's a good radio. Overall, it is. First of all, let's take a look at a few things here. One of the things I noticed right away, of course, is of course, you have the channel knob and the volume knob. But one thing about it is, if you're changing the channel knob, you're like you're likely going to end up hitting the volume knob and turning it down. And that happens on radios all the time, so that's something just to be aware of. Okay, next up is the uh, return button here, or back button, whatever you want to call it, exit in some cases. You need this button to change between VFO and channel. Now, when I got it, now it's working pretty good now, but when I got it, it was real stiff and you couldn't get it to operate. Could not get it to work. I had to actually push it for a while and kind of break it in. You know, it's sort of like when you get new shoes or anything, you got to break them in. Well, sometimes radio's the same way. So I had to push the button a little, get it to break in. Worked out real well. All right. Menu layout is the same as most radios. Of course, you've got the A, B buttons here. Which actually, it's really one button, just two different sides to it. It's two buttons, but in one. What do you? All right. Of course, it does have the flashlight function, which I find to be redundant. And on this one, you can change the flashlight to an alarm mode or a flashlight mode or a strobe mode. And those are your options. You can't just turn it off. So I put it just on flashlight mode there. Okay. All right. So you've got on the side, you've got your PTT and your two programmable buttons. In my case, the top button I programmed for scan. The bottom button, of course, I programmed in for weather and FM radio. Okay. Of course, it does have a sealed door for the K-type connection, so you do need the screwdriver to take it off. The battery on here is a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, so it's actually a really good thing. By the way, the link to this radio on AliExpress is in the description below. Okay. You can do frequency copy, which has become a big thing lately. And of course, you can do that just by holding down the star key from the menu. Of course, to get out of that, of course, although you need to hit the star key again. It doesn't work to use the back button on that. Okay. Now, the interesting thing on this, and this was interesting, is So um, it's advertised as an 8-watt radio, but on the box, this was interesting. It was on the box. It said 5 watts on the little sticker on the box. But I ran it through. I tested it yesterday on the Surecom, and it puts out somewhere between 6 to 8 watts. Now in the manual it says less than 8 watts, but so you're getting between 6 and 8, depending. Which isn't bad. It's not a bad power output for a little radio. It's a little bit smaller, although, than some of the other ones I've been looking at lately. But for a little size comparison here, the GM30 Plus Radioddity is a bigger radio, but it still has a good weight and a good feel to it. Also, unlike being a solid black, if you can't, I don't know if you can see it on the screen there, but it's actually gray and black, so it's got a two-tone look to it. And of course, with the red accents on the PTT button, a little touch of red there, also on the channel and volume control. So, I mean, maybe red's not your thing, but I think it looks good. I like the look of it. I like the feel. We did some distance testing on it this morning briefly. And I thought we were having a technical problem with the distance on it. But what happened was, and I didn't realize it until I checked my phone, but I told my wife what frequency she needed to be on, or what channel she needed to be on her radio to hit mine this morning. And she didn't. She went to the wrong channel. And of course, I thought she was on the right channel, so I picked up this one to respond on that channel with. But of course, she couldn't hear me, so I thought we had a problem. Fortunately, I had different radios on different channels at the time, so I was monitoring the backup channel that she would use. And she went to went to a different channel. I knew which, and I was able to communicate with her, both on Simplex, and of course at we have a lot of obstructions between us. So on Simplex, we get about a half a mile, and that's good. But of course, also on repeater, we can reach out and touch somebody. So it does have the range. That's what I'm telling people here is it does have good range. It is a good radio. Now, for the purposes of having it on the desk right here, I have just this little stubby rubber antenna on it. It's not the antenna I would normally use on here, but it is a good radio. Also, interesting note, I want to point out one other thing on the SWR, which I do take the time to test the radios and the antennas. The SWR on this antenna is not that great. However, on the stock antenna that it comes with, now this is where I want to be clear on, the stock antenna that it comes to has an excellent SWR on the radio on it. So yeah, you're almost at, I think it's 1.1 on there, or 1.4, something like that, somewhere in that range. And so it's got a really good SWR on the stock antenna that comes with it. But the stock antenna is a little bit longer, and that gets in the way when you're on the screen, when you have it on the camera. So you just put the little one on there for now. Another issue, and I'm just covering some of the basic issues. It's a good radio, but I want to cover some issues that it does have. It's not chirp compatible, so you need the CPS software, and you can get that from the Radtel site. However, when you go to program it through the software and everything, you cannot input independent channel names. So you can't put an independent channel name in there. And if you set it on your settings to display, you want it to just display channel. And just remember what number is what. But if you tell it to do channel plus name, you're going to have Chinese characters on there because it's in their character map. You can't, and you can't modify that. At least I haven't found a way yet Now, hopefully, once this is on, later on, maybe after it's been on the market a while, there'll be an update where you can change and program independent or individual names into the radio. But if you're going to rely on just being on channels, knowing what channel you're on, and everything, then it works out great. Now, it does have a USB-C charger on the back. Oh, there we go. On the back of the battery here. However, it does not have an indicator light on here to tell you when it's charged. So you kind of have to guess on that. Now, I programmed it, or charged it yesterday. I programmed it too, but I charged it up yesterday for a little while. But now, of course, I know the box had been opened before I got it, which isn't a big deal. But and I know this because the battery was attached to the radio. It shouldn't have been attached to the radio, but it was. However, it makes no big difference, really, at the end of the day. The radio still works, and it works out fine. So we don't complain about it. Now, what else is there on this one? Menu functionality, it's all the basic bells and whistles. It's fairly simple and straightforward. The keys are a little small, in my opinion. However, it's not a big deal. You can still press them all, and it's not a big issue. But they are relatively small. Okay, and y'all can see through with the light there to the speaker and everything. What I was talking about where I don't think it's really waterproof, but I'm not going to try and throw it in the water to find out either. This radio runs about $38 on. Well, it was $38 this morning. Actually, I got it a little less than that. I think I paid $30 for it, but it was a lot cheaper than buying the Max Talker that was $50-something on Amazon, even after discounts, when I was looking. Now, I want to segue a minute here and talk about AliExpress because I've never used them before now, and I really am impressed with the site and the service and everything. I ordered this radio less than 2 weeks ago, and I got it from China in less than 2 weeks' time. It was here at my door. I ordered some little antennas and stuff, and they were here as well. So everything arrived on time, promptly, and yeah, you have to wait a little bit, but you save money if you do wait, so it's worthwhile. Like I said, it's a good little radio. I like it. And I don't know if other people will like it or not, but it does what a radio is supposed to do. It's got the basic bells and features. And of course, it feels good in your hand. It's got a good size to it. It's not as big and cumbersome as, say, the 730 that we talked about the other day or something like that. It's even a little bit smaller than my GM30 that I use, GM30 Plus, I use a lot. But this is a good little radio. I liked the design when I saw it, and I thought, what, why not we just get it and take a look at it and see what we thought about it. And of course, if I come up with something to add to that, we'll do another video, right? All right. Of course, okay. Forgot to even turn that screen on. Okay. Anyway, all right. Get past the feedback there. All right. So, like I said, this is a good little radio. It does have the weather bands in it, so that's one thing you really want to have on a radio. I know a lot of people may not care about the weather bands and stuff, but it's springtime. We're going to have storms and stuff. Have a radio with the weather on it. That's one of the things. And having the weather bands and having them programmed in. Now, on some radios, of course, you're not going to have one touch to the weather bands. I understand that. I have plenty of radios that do not have one touch to the weather bands, and I have them all programmed in, and I know what number they are. But the newer radios, I really like the fact they do have the one touch feature. On this one here, I just hold down the button and it'll load right over to weather. Now, of course, that's not the local weather band; that's just channel one, but our weather band channel one. But uh, you can easily go into it. All right. Yes, there is a Roger beep for those people that like Roger beeps. I don't like that. I don't need it. But hey, you know what? Each their own. I do have the voice prompt still on here, and that's just because if I were using an external microphone with it, and say it was in a case or a pouch on my belt, I don't want to have to pull it out to change the channel. I want to be able to hear where I'm at. That's just the way I see it. Of course, on this radio, you would have to pull it out, if you need to switch between A and B. That's just one of those big things. Okay. Of course, there is a keypad lock that's on your pound key, or hashtag as the young people might call it. We called that a pound key back in the day. But, of course, you've got your menu shortcuts and everything. Of course, I'm still going through looking at the manual and stuff and seeing if there's anything really of interest on here. Like I said, you've got your frequency copy. You've got basically all of your basic settings that you want to do on here. So if you go in the menu, you can scroll through. There's 50 different settings from your squelch, your step, your power settings. It's only dual power, not tri-power. So it's low or high, people. Low or high. That's what you get with the power there. Power saver on or off. I have it turned on right now. Let's go ahead and put that, or turn it off. Let's go ahead and turn that back on. You do have your Vox, but you don't want to do that. Nobody really wants voice activated hands free on a radio. Wide beam, narrow beam, backlight timer, TDR. That's your dual watch, people. And of course, dual watch is always on. The beep is on, just because I like to hear it beep. Talk out timer is set at 120 right now. You have the warn type, which is either on site or an alarm. You have your CTSS tones, your DCS tones, all that. It does have a scramble feature on here, so we'll leave that off. As you can see, I don't know if y'all can see this or not. No, you can't really see it here. I'm trying to tilt the screen a little bit. Anyway, when you look at the channel names in here, it's got a series of Chinese characters, and then the channel name, or the channel number. Like I said, English, of course, channel is Chinese, or language is Chinese or English. Busy lock. Your scan mode at CO or TO. I prefer CO. Voice on or off. FM settings. Of course, your offset settings and other things like that. And your step direction. I forgot where I was at. Of course, you can also set it to have a message, or you can have the logo. You can do that through the software as to what you want the message to say. Timed out on there. Of course, you've got your LCD settings, DTMF tones, all that other good stuff, scan tones, all kinds. You've got basically everything, all the bells and whistles you need in here, your display types, all the good stuff. But as I was saying, you've got 51 options or 50 options in here. I think 51 just shows you the version. So, but and of course you do have an icon on here. It's an S if it's on power save mode. Little squiggly lines for dual watch. So, of course, the instruction book is pretty well laid out. It's simple. Behind me, but it is pretty well laid out. And it's a good little thing. Okay, that's uh, that's where we are with this radio. That's of course the Radtel 463, and I like this radio. I like the size. Uh, Personally, I'm in favor of bigger radios. I like bigger radios, but this one has a good feel to it, and it's got a decent size to it. Um, I wouldn't mind the buttons being a little bit bigger. Maybe move the model number up to get rid of the light and move it up and make the buttons a little bit bigger. But hey, you know what? That's all right. We could go with all kinds of different ways to look at it. That might be a little bit of an improvement, but overall, it's a good radio. Like I said, USB-C charge, 8-watt radio. Now, of course, this is technically, it says it's all but in, so I think it's the receive range is between 100 megahertz to 600 megahertz, something like that. But other than that, I mean, and I can double check that while I'm thinking about it. Oh, it's not the right page. The got 199 memory channels for those that would like to know that. Yeah, it does have airband receive in it, and it's everything between 100 to on the receive, everything between 100 to 580. So those are your frequency ranges that you're looking at and that we were talking about. Okay. One free the frequency I already talked about the frequency copy. It shows all the things that it has, but the reality is that, of course, the big selling points, of course, is that it works. But it does have a rather large and impressive battery size for it. Now, whether or not the battery itself does last as long as some others, we'll find out. And of course, generally when I get a radio, I like to leave it on for a while and just to see how long the battery does last with using it and without using it. So I'll probably let it set for a couple of days, see how the battery plate works. And, if the battery's really as good as I think it will be, then we'll come back to it. Okay, everybody. Let me go back over here real quick and just check something real fast. I'm just looking for something real quick on here, so give me a minute here. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, the radio is a good radio. It's got battery, of course, seems to be good. The range on it seems to be what you'd expect in a normal handheld. And for me, and for most users, I think that the basics to know is that when you look at the radio and what you have in it is that you want to basically know that it's going to communicate where you are at, and of course it's going to be able to communicate the distance and everything that you that you expect, but also that it basically does the basic functions. The average user isn't going to be concerned with with a bunch of bells and whistles and will it do this or do that. The primary thing is, can you communicate from point A to point B when you need to? That's the thing that should be looked at, and that's the thing that we have to talk about on these things. So I think that, yes, it's a good radio. It does what it's advertised to do. It does have the distance. The weather band receive is great. I did test the weather band receive out last night, listening to it for a little bit, just to see. Also, the AM/FM radio is it's got a good receiver in it, which I like having an AM/FM radio sitting around. You know, if you have a power outage or something, it's a good thing to have. I like to listen to the radio sometimes, to the AM/FM, or not to AM, but to the FM radio. As for the airband receive, I really don't worry about it too much. I've got that in a lot of radios now, but we're not. I'm not worried about listening to what the airplanes are doing because there's not that many airplanes nearby anyway. Occasionally, yeah, you pick up their traffic, but it's not like it's a big major thing to be invested in listening to. I don't live right next to the airport. If I lived right next to an airport, hey, that would be a big thing. It's not. But yes, that's the RT-463. That's my thoughts on it for the moment. I'll probably have some more later on, but here's what it is. Okay, viewers. Coming up in the near future, we're going to have another radio review, possibly today. So you want to stay tuned for that. And I know it actually will be today. It'll be sometime late in the day. But we will have a new radio review, and we'll have a radio review, but you'll have to wait and find out what it is. Our next review video will probably be what's in the box. We're going to find out what's in the box today. I ordered something, and we're going to take a look at it and see what's in the box, and then we'll determine what we like about it and what we don't. We'll do that in more than one part, of course, because I'll need time. I'm going to let y'all see it when I first get it in the box, and then I'll take it and mess with it and see where we're at. That is the game plan on that. Okay, viewers. Remember, if you enjoy today's stream or enjoy hearing about these radios and other fine items that could potentially help you out for communications, be sure to leave a like. And, of course, you can always subscribe to the channel. Yes, you can do all of those things that you probably should have already done. Yes, it is a good little radio. So if you're looking for one, the link for AliExpress is in the description below. Okay. Oh. Yes, but it is a good radio, and like I said, if you're looking for it, the link's in the description. And if you have a comment on it or a question about it, be sure to put that also in the chat box below. And of course, anytime we're live doing these reviews, you can always pop into the chat and say something as well. Okay, people, we will be back later today with what's in the box.